Hi, everyone. Welcome to the HBF Venture Accelerator podcast. I'm your host, Giovanna, here with Hassan. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been making waves across the industry: vibe coding and no code. We're diving deep into the pros, the cons, and the very real stakes involved. To start, let's establish a baseline for our listeners. What exactly are no code tools, Hassan?
So, no code tools are platforms that allow users to create applications, websites, workflows without writing any traditional code. They function through a visual development environment, a bit like building with digital Lego blocks. You have a canvas and a library of pre built components like user authentication, forms, and databases. You sort of pick and choose which aspects or components you want in your app, and you assemble it together through an interface that isn't code. The user just drags and drops and configures the logic. And for example, you can tell a button to process a payment when a user clicks it, or send an email notification when a new item is added to the database. And you can just sort of write that logic in normal English, and these tools can help run and execute that code. This approach has really transformed software development. It has enabled a lot of small business owners to create custom inventory tools for their internal inventory. A marketing professional is able to build a sophisticated lead capture site through this, or a teacher is able to design a learning portal all without having to hire an engineer or learn Python or JavaScript or anything like that. So it removes the technical barriers and allows people to focus entirely on their business logic and still be able to build sort of software.
So basically, no code tools enable users to create apps and workflows, usually using pre built components without writing code. But where does this new concept vibe coding fit in?
So vibe coding takes this a step further. It's a method of software creation driven by artificial intelligence. Instead of assembling pre-built components, you use natural language to describe what you want, and an AI is going to build it for you. The AI, powered by large language models, generates functional code from scratch in this case. The term suggests a development style where you provide a high-level description or a vibe, and the AI handles the technical implementation. For example, a founder simply prompts the AI, build a social media analytics dashboard that tracks user engagement, and the AI starts by generating the front end interface. The founder then refines the prompt and says, add a bar chart showing weekly active users or a pie chart for demographic data. And the AI then writes the code for the charts, the database queries, and the data visualization. This approach is more flexible than no code because AI can create things that don't exist in a pre built component library. So it turns development from a manual process into a more of a conversational process.
Vibe coding lets AI build software from natural language prompts, making development conversational, personalized, and more flexible. Can you give me some more details on how no code and vibe coding are being used in the industry?
Absolutely. So Bubble is an incredibly powerful full stack platform in the no code space that allows for the creation of complex multi-user applications space that allows for the web. We've seen companies build their entire product on Bubble and go on to raise significant venture capital. ServiceBot, for instance, built its initial product on Bubble and successfully secured funding. This demonstrates that no code isn't just for small side projects. It can be the foundation for a scalable business. Then you have companies in the AI space like Lovable, which are focused on vibe coding models. So their value proposition is pure speed. You describe your desired app, and the AI platform attempts to generate the code for it in minutes. This is ideal for rapid prototyping and proving a concept quickly, which is why we're also seeing specialized tool emerge, like Lobe from Microsoft, which helps you build AI models visually without code. The adoption is pretty widespread. According to a 2023 no code consensus report, over 40% of no code users are non-technical founders or business leaders. So people who aren't programmers are using no-code tools or vibe coding to prototype and build functioning products of their idea. And they're often, also building internal tools, customer portals, and even online marketplaces. Uh, and this has led to software uh, becoming more accessible for everybody to build.
So, no code and vibe coding tools are transforming software by enabling anyone to quickly build scalable apps without traditional coding. So, let's get into the core benefits. What are the key advantages of this new way of building?
The number one advantage is the drastic increase in speeding up the workflows. I've seen projects that would typically require a 6 month development cycle compressed into just a few weeks. A 2023 McKinsey study found that generative AI could automate up to 70% of a developer's tasks, potentially boosting overall productivity by 50 to 60%. This is profound. And for a founder, it means that they can build an MVP, put it in the hands of early users, and validate their business idea before a competitor even finalizes their design documents. That feedback loop is really invaluable. And so the faster you can ship and get feedback on your product, the better and more likely your product is to be successful. it really also improves accessibility. Hiring teams and technical professionals can cost thousands of dollars in several months. The ability for non-technical individuals to build no code and vibe code interfaces is a major force that enables innovation. And also for professional developers, it's about augmentation. These tools are not really replacing engineers, they're making them more productive. So AI can handle the repetitive tasks that consume a lot of developers' time, like writing code or generating APIs and creating documentation. This frees up the human engineer to focus on complex architectural decisions and creative problem solving. This is why we've seen an interesting trend at Google where product managers are now using vibe coded applications internally instead of presenting a static PowerPoint slide so that they can show a live interactive prototype. And because it really makes building these tools really more quicker and accessible, you don't have to, you can take a step further from that prototype from a design interface to a really interactable product really on these vibe coded tools.
So, no code and vibe coding tools speed development, boost productivity, cut costs, and enable rapid prototyping for both non technical users and developers. But what are the major challenges and risks associated with it?
So that's a really good point that I think is also really important to factor in because you have all these advantages, but there are real risks and concerns. The biggest risks are around security, scalability, and long term maintainability. This is where some of these initial benefits can also become major liabilities. So, on security, for example, AI models are trained on massive structure of public code, and a significant portion of that code does contain vulnerabilities. As a result, the code generated by an AI could introduce security flaws in your application. A Veracode study found that AI generated code is 45% more likely to contain vulnerabilities than a code written by a human. A founder without a security background could be building a major security flaw into their product from day one without even knowing about it, making their application vulnerable to attack. So what you don't want is you build a really good application and you vibe code it and it gets a lot of users in, but because you were vibe coding and you didn't have really any professional expertise involved, all of a sudden your users' database information and their personal information is all leaked because there was a security vulnerability, and that really hurts your reputation a lot as well. Scalability is another issue. An application built with AI might function perfectly for a handful of users, but its unoptimized code can't really handle spikes in traffic. In these, there's also the problem of maintainability. The code AI makes often lacks a consistent style or clear documentation or a logical structure. It can be like building a house without a blueprint. So it might stand up initially, but any future changes become a major engineering effort. This accumulation of poor code also becomes what we call in the industry as technical debt, and it can become an enormous burden for the company as it grows. So the risks really are you have security vulnerabilities. The code isn't really built for security, it's not built for scale, and it's also not built to be maintained. So it helps with your initial prototype version. It can help you build real world solutions as well, but if you just go at it without having any experts or developers in the loop, you can end up creating something that can be really costly down the line, especially when your idea starts working out.
AI generated and no code tools can introduce security flaws, fail under high traffic, and produce hard to maintain code. Can you share some costly AI coding failures to explain these points further?
Yeah, so the consequences are really severe and well documented. In a highly publicized incident, tech investor and SaaStr founder Jason Lemkin publicly documented his experience with the Replit AI coding assistant, which, in a critical error, deleted a live production database. Despite explicit instructions to freeze the code, the AI went rogue and erasing customer data from the SaaStr community platform. The incident sort of highlighted a crucial risk of autonomous AI agents, their lack of contextual judgment and ability to disregard human commands, leading to irreversible actions in the real world. Another prominent example is of a file system disaster was publicly shared by a developer who used Google's Gemini CLI. The developer asked the AI to perform a simple task, move all project files into a new folder. In a critical logical error, the AI failed to verify that the new folder was created. It then proceeded to rename each file with the new folder path, effectively overwriting every single file in the original directory until the entire project was gone. In this case, the developer lost months of work. The cost was direct and total. A complete project wipeout due to the AI's lack of basic verification. This kind of logical flaw highlights that AI cannot be blindly trusted with commands that are irreversible and have destructive outcomes. Another important factor to consider is that AI models are not deterministic. When given the same prompt, they can sometimes generate different outputs. Security research report by SemGraph and Trail of Bits highlighted this issue. In their experiments, they found that asking AI models like Claude Code and OpenAI Codex to find vulnerabilities in the same piece of code could give different results each time. One instance might correctly identify a critical bug, while the next might completely miss it and instead hallucinate a non-existent vulnerability. This unpredictability makes it impossible to rely on AI for consistent quality control.
AI coding tools can cause critical errors and inconsistent outputs, making them risky for irreversible tasks. But we're seeing major VCs and institutions weigh in. What are they saying about the current limitations?
The consensus among major players like Andreessen Horowitz and Sequoia Capital is a mix of immense optimism and a healthy dose of realism. They see AI as an incredible tool for acceleration, but not as a replacement for human talent. A partner at Andreessen noted in a recent report that while AI could automate routine tasks, it lacks the ability for architectural reasoning. And AI can write a function, but it cannot design a robust, scalable system. This is a crucial distinction that founders need to understand when it comes to building their technology. A 2023 report from Sequoia Capital stated that the AI revolution will not replace software developers, but it will make them 10x more productive. And this sort of emphasizes the idea of AI as an augmentation tool for human expertise. An AI can write a function for a login system, but it doesn't know what database to choose, how to structure the API for future scalability, or how to secure the entire system against potential threats. This high level thinking remains the exclusive domain of an experienced human architect. This is why VCs are investing in companies that use AI as a tool to augment engineers, not necessarily to replace them.
VCs see AI as a tool to enhance, not replace human developers, which is understandable as AI is a tool, not a full-time employee. You've mentioned a trend among Google product managers earlier. How are they using vibe-coded apps, and why is that different from what a founder should be doing?
So, product managers at Google, for example, are using vibe-coded platforms to create interactive prototypes for their internal teams. Instead of presenting a static PowerPoint slide deck or a simple wireframe, they now use an AI to generate a functional, clickable application that demonstrates a product idea in minutes. The team can interact with it, provide imminent feedback, and get a much better feel for the user experience. There is a cost benefit for an internal audience. The goal is speed and visualization. The code doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be very secure. It just needs to work for a few minutes in a controlled environment. Even if it has security flaws or it's not scalable, it doesn't matter because it's not going to be seen by a user or go live. This is what we call a throwaway prototype. So that's a really great use for building with AI. However, let's come to a big mistake that a founder can make is which is assuming that a tool that is designed for internal visualization is ready for public deployment. This is what many AI platforms market, which is just like generate your app and launch. But the code is often filled with vulnerabilities. It is inefficient database queries and lacks proper error handling, which is why without sort of proper testing and without sort of taking into consideration that you might get value from human experts taking a look at the structure and architecture of the app, it's not wise to deploy these apps generally for end users and with real people with the real data.
Vibe-coded tools are great for quick prototypes, but unsafe for public deployment. However, there's a big, bold vision that's often talked about, a future where everything is coded with AI, a world of pure vibe coding. Is that where we're headed, or do we not have sufficient resources and capacity at the moment?
Yeah, the future could very well be a world where we describe an application and a machine builds it. That is a long-term and ambitious goal of this technology. However, at this very moment, we simply do not have the technical capacity for a fully AI-generated code base that can be trusted with a public-facing product. The reason for this is multifaceted and goes to the very nature of how these models work. The fundamental challenge is that today's AI models cannot perform true reasoning, and AI doesn't understand the full security context of a system. This brings us to a crucial point about the market itself. If the technology isn't ready for fully autonomous production grade application, why are so many AI coding platforms launching and promoting themselves so aggressively? The answer is that they have a powerful incentive to do so right now. The competition in the AI space is fierce, with billions of dollars in venture capital at stake. These companies need to capture market share, gain a brand presence, and most importantly, acquire user data. Every time a developer or a founder uses one of these tools, they are providing valuable feedback and data that can be used to train and improve these AI models. By launching now, these companies are not just selling a product, they're building the training data set for the next generation of AI. It's sort of a strategic move to establish lead in a highly competitive race. The future of software development will still involve humans. The role of the developer is simply changing. They are becoming conductors of the AI, providing high level strategy and vision while leaving the execution of tasks to the machines. The key for founders is to understand that AI is a tool to accelerate the initial building process, but it is not a replacement for a professional's judgment in creating a secure, scalable, and resilient product.
Vibe coding can speed up development, but how can the HBF Venture Accelerator help founders gaining benefits of AI vibe coding without falling into the traps?
So this is precisely why we created the HBF Venture Accelerator model. We've seen so many founders get excited by the promise of AI only to build something that has to be completely rewritten later on. So we try to offer a hybrid solution that combines the best of both worlds. A founder comes to us with an idea. We first leverage the benefits of vibe coding to build a minimum viable product with incredible speed, along with partnering you up with a real professional engineer that can set the right foundations for growth for the app as your idea becomes successful. The engineer will review the AI generated code, audit it for security vulnerabilities, and strategically build the application on a solid foundation. We take the speed of AI and layer on the security, scalability, and architectural integrity that only a professional human developer can provide. This model ensures that a founder's initial success doesn't become a long-term technical liability, that you're able to launch your MVP for testing with real users. HBF Venture Accelerator specifically targets idea stage founders, including non-technical ones, aiming to launch AI application ideas by directly co-investing $50,000 worth of product development and technical expertise for their MVP or minimum viable product. Our team combines the speed and efficiency of AI handling the grunt work with the expertise of senior engineers and product managers. This ensures your application is developed with long term code efficiency in mind, minimizing technical debt and benefiting from critical human input. You get the best of both worlds, human and AI contributions in building your product at a very reasonable total cost of $75,000, of which we cover two-thirds or 50K, and we ask you to contribute one-third or 25K paid over 8 months at around 3,000 a month to help validate your idea and build your MVP for you.